Paranormal Buzz Radio is proud to present Girls vs. Ghost Media's Spooky Talk with Madison Smith from Madison Paranormal. You can find Spooky Talk every other Sunday, 6 Eastern, 5 Central, right here, live on Paranormal Buzz Radio. Be sure to join in the live interactive chat by going to Spreaker.com or downloading the Spreaker app for all devices.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of Paranormal Buzz Radio or its sponsors. Use of any material produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is strictly prohibited. For information on everything Paranormal Buzz Radio has to offer, visit our website, paranormalbuzzradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Listener discretion is advised.
Here's your host, Madison Smith.
Hi everyone, I'm Madison Smith. I would like to welcome you all to Spooky Talk with Maddie. Tonight's guest is someone who gets to do best of both worlds. She gets to investigate and eat good food. One of my favorite things to do. So let's give a very spooky welcome to Amanda Woomer with Ghost-Eats.
Hi.
I'm gonna guess that I pronounced your last name wrong. Maybe.
No, you did actually. It's actually perfect.
Well, I did something. Oh, sorry. Wait. Okay. My information is wrong, everyone. Sorry. Whoa. Okay. Sorry, guys. It's Spook-Eats. Shay just informed me of that. Thank you, Shay. Thank you very much. Alright. Let's get back on track and start this show. So before I do forget, because I normally do, would you like to share out your social medias, anything like that?
Sure. This is actually great in the beginning because 9 times out of 10 everyone forgets at the end. So I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And it's all at Spook-Eats, all one word, nice and easy. And then my website is Spook-Eats.com. You can get my books at Spook-Eats.com/shop. And then I usually tell people that if they know about any haunted restaurants or hotels or anything like that, or if they own one, which is even better, they can reach me at spookeats@gmail.com. And I'm always looking to add to new places to visit and travel once we're allowed to travel again. Hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I feel your pain. Big time. Like, I love my home to death, but even the ghosts here get boring.
Right? It's like, I'm a homebody, absolutely. I love it. I love being at home with my projects, but I'm starting to kind of lose it a little bit.
Yeah, like, I literally look at myself in the mirror and just start laughing for no reason. I'm just like, like, I swear, half the time I act like I'm drunk now. For no reason.
I think that's like cabin fever or just going completely stir crazy.
Yeah, that's me. Ramen, macaroni, and cheese, you know? Only thing that I've been eating for like the last week. I swear, I live off of ramen. Alright. So shall we start?
Sure.
Okay. So can you tell us about our blogs on Spook-Eats? And when did you make it?
So I started Spook-Eats officially, quote unquote, back in 2018. I have been interested in the paranormal ever since I was a little girl. And I had my first experience, and then I did I call it more so ghost hunting than actual investigating when I was about 14, 15 years old. And then I kind of over the years acquired more tools, better gadgets, things like that, and just like got more and more interested in it. In 2015, my younger brother passed away, and that was kind of the moment where I decided, instead of just doing this for fun or as a hobby, I really wanted to do it as a way to kind of find answers. So that's why I kind of focused on the Spook-Eats project, where I visit and focus mostly on haunted hospitality. So restaurants, bars, hotels, cafes, all that stuff. The reason why I did that was because even prior to when my brother passed away, I found that a lot of haunted locations can sometimes be really difficult to access and get into. Either you have to be somewhat of a accomplished investigator or a well-known investigator, or it costs a decent amount of money and you might not be able to afford it. So I decided to kind of look at places that were already open to the general public, that they actually wanted you to come visit. And a lot of times these places are just as haunted as the places that you might see on TV, and they have a lot more history, or just as much history, I should say. So I kind of focused on that. And then especially after my brother passed away, I kind of felt that, you know, I was searching for answers about life after death and the paranormal, so other people have to do that as well. You know, I'm not the only person that's ever lost a loved one. Everyone does at some point. So that was kind of why I wanted to create Spook-Eats, where I kind of highlight different things about each location. You know, I talk about the history, I talk about the food, and then I talk about the ghost stories. So I always say, if you're not a huge fan of the paranormal, you know, you might be interested in history or travel or food. So ideally, there's something for everyone at Spook-Eats. And over the years, I've written several books about it, and really just trying to bring the paranormal to the masses. I always tell people it's not just for people that you see on TV. Like, anyone can kind of explore the paranormal and experience the paranormal if you know where to go. And hopefully Spook-Eats can kind of be a roadmap or a guide to show people where they can access haunted history.
Yeah. And then, let's see. Shay wants to know about the ghost light.
So, if anyone's been following my social media at all lately, I've been blabbing about the Ghostlight Theater constantly. So the Ghostlight Theater is a theater in my hometown of Buffalo, New York. And it is a 130-year-old building. And it used to be a church. And then 20 years ago, it was transformed into a theater. I've been a member there now for 15 years. And it's hands down, at least in my opinion, the most haunted place that I've ever been. That could be just because I grew up there and I've spent so much time there over the years. But it's absolutely amazing. I just wrote a book. I should say I just compiled a book about stories of the Ghostlight Theater. We have over 100 stories that people have experienced over the years. They're ghost stories. Some of them range from, you know, feeling something strange or photographing something strange to full-on, you know, full body apparitions. There's no denying who this person is or what they're seeing. We know of at least 5 spirits there, and people have seen them all. They've experienced them all. So it's really cool that you actually have 5 full body apparitions that people have seen over the years. We currently are holding ghost hunts there to kind of help them through COVID, just because they can't perform. They can't put on any shows at all. And it's a shame. Like, they're not getting any help from anyone. So we're trying to keep them open and keep them running. So we're hosting ghost hunts. So if anyone's in the Buffalo area, we're doing another one in January. Tickets are still available for that. And then, again, the book that I just wrote, The Ghosts of the Ghostlight Theater, is available. And 100% of the proceeds go right to the theater. And for me, it's especially important because I was a member there for years. And my brother, who passed away that I mentioned, Jed, he was a member until he passed away in 2015. And we've actually gotten EVPs of his voice as well as photographs of him over the years. So I always feel like whenever I visit there, I'm kind of reconnecting with my brother, even though he's not physically here. When I go to that building, it feels like he's still around. And I've seen him there on several occasions. And again, like, we've caught some really compelling evidence with him at the center of it. So, which I think is really cool. Even if it wasn't my brother, they would be really cool. But because it's my brother, it's absolutely amazing.
We're just doing like a little round of applause, like. So, how long have you been investigating, and when did you first figure out you wanted? Oh wait, no, you already answered that.
No, I can kind of talk a little bit. I always like say like my origin story. So I started investigating in 2004. I don't even know if you were alive yet.
Nope.
Oh gosh,
Nope.
that hurts my soul. So I was 14 when I first started. But again, I always joke saying like it was the sort of thing where like I had like a pair of dowsing rods. I had managed to snag those, and I had a cassette recorder. So a blast from the past, and that's how I did my EVPs and stuff. And I would go to, the park at the end of my street, or the local cemeteries, things like that. But when I first got into the paranormal, I was 7 years old. I saw my first ghost in my parents' house. I was in my bed one night, and I saw an old woman in our house. She was walking through the hallway. She had crazy bed head and a bathrobe on, and she stopped and she turned and stared at me before kind of continuing on into our family's linen closet. And when I screamed bloody murder for my mom, because I was absolutely petrified because there was no old woman in our house, she actually ran through the woman, so she didn't see her, even though I could. So that was kind of the first experience that I had that really kind of propelled me. And I always wonder, like, if I didn't experience that at that one time, because that was the only time I ever saw her, I always wonder, like, would my life be what it is now? Would I be interested in the paranormal? I'd like to think that I still would have found a way to it. But I always wonder, like, if I happened to be asleep at that moment, or if I had been, like, rolled on the other side in my bed and I didn't see her, would I be here talking with you right now? I don't know. So it's one of those, like, cool moments that was kind of, like, set me on my trajectory towards the paranormal.
You're going to hear a lot of applause tonight.
Hey, that's okay.
So, like, are you a psychic of any kind, or?
I don't think so. People ask me that. They're like, oh, are you sensitive? Do you pick up on things? And I always jokingly say I think I'm as sensitive as a rock, because I don't think I pick up on anything. But I've had other people tell me that they do get that vibe, that I do pick up on things, whether I realize it or not. I think just over the years of investigating and kind of being out in the field, you kind of get a feel for, the energy of the space. If like I feel like the air gets electrified when something is about to happen or is happening. So I think you can kind of tell when something, might happen in the evening and might not. But I don't know if that's necessarily being like psychic or sensitive, or just kind of picking up on those cues after investigating for a while, So I personally don't think I am. I wish I could say like, oh yeah, I'm super cool like that, but unfortunately I don't think I am at all. I just think that I pick up on things, but I think it's just because I've been doing it for more than half my life now, which is kind of freaky to think about.
Yeah, like I've had multiple people just walk up to me, like, at Paracons and stuff. Do you know you're psychic? I'm just like, since when?
Yeah. Who are you? No.
I'm like, sir, I do not know you.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, no. Like, the thing is, like, I know that people can't see me except, like, you and Shay, but I still do, like, the facial expressions, like, really now.
Yeah, it's true though. Like, yeah, when people say that, you're like, why? Like, what? I should ask. Like, the next time someone says this to you, or someone comes up to me and says this, be like, why? Why do you think this? Can you please explain to me why? Because I don't pick up on it, but maybe I'm wrong. That'd be great. But
and this guy, he literally walks up to me. Do you know that you're psychic? I'm like, what? And then he literally had, like, to prove it to me, because I was like, sir, I do not understand. And he did, like, this force wave thing, and I was like...
I wish people could see her facial features right now. It's a great face.
If there was an emoji for it. Like, period. The thing is, I could probably make an emoji. Watch it on my Facebook. Honestly. Yeah, Shay in the comments. That's practically what I look like. Just, Okay. Back to the conversation.
No, it's fine.
Screenshots. Oh, no.
Yeah. I was going to say, if you take a screenshot, that's like blackmail, though. Oh, gosh.
I don't even know if I could even take a screenshot on my Chromebook, quite honest. And if I could, I think that I forgot how to do it.
And I wouldn't appreciate it, because at least on my computer, I'm still up on the screen, and I don't want anyone seeing this right now.
Same, my throw onesie,
It's a great onesie, though, but, like, Baby Spook-Eats has put me through the ringer, and it's like, no, like, let's not show this to the public.
My mess of a self, honestly. And the thing is, I have 2 Chromebooks. I have my home one and my school one, and I still forget how to take screenshots.
Gosh, I wouldn't know. I'm too old for that.
Like, I'm pretty sure that's just... Oh, yep, that's how you do it. Okay.
Oh, no.
No, I'll do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want a screenshot. You know what? Forget about it. It's fine. Okay. Shay, you both look great. Me, on the other hand. Bro, you should have seen me. Like, you think this looks like a mess? You should have seen me before the show. I literally...
Just no.
Me know, like, not knowing what to say, like... Okay. So Darren Buss has a question in the comments. What has been your favorite location for the food?
Oh, for the food. For me, it has to be, it's a place in Nutley, New Jersey called the Old Canal Inn. And they have this thing called the Death Seat Burger. Backstory. Their haunting, or their claim to fame, is their death seat, which is this bar stool that is supposedly cursed. So if you sit in it, you less than 10 days later, you will die of a heart attack. That's the claim. 4 people have died either sitting in the seat, they died of a heart attack, or 10 days later, they've died of a heart attack. So the owners, instead of trying to like hide this fact, they've decided to totally bank on it, which I love. And they created the Death Seat Burger, which is a burger with cheddar cheese, mashed potatoes, jalapenos on top, and then they beer batter it and they deep fry it. So it's like a heart attack on a plate.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, it's quite good. I'm not a huge like combination person when it comes to my food. Like I'm like one of those crazy people that like my meat's over here, my vegetables are over here. Don't let them touch.
Yep, that's me.
So yeah, so it was a leap of faith for me. I was like, mashed potatoes on top of a burger, what? But it was really, really good, and I love it because usually when I go to locations that are haunted, they'll have like a cocktail that's inspired by their ghost story. But you very rarely find like a full-on entree that's inspired by the ghost story. So I loved that. I thought it was really cool, really unique. So many places that I go to either like don't want to talk about the hauntings, or they kind of like downplay it, where this place was just like, yeah, people died here on that chair over there. Don't sit in it. And it's like, okay, I'll have a burger, please. So fantastic. I highly recommend it if you're ever visiting New York City. It's about 40 minutes south of New York City. So the Old Canal Inn in Nutley, New Jersey.
Honestly, bet if I saw that seat, I'd be like...
I was gonna say, I love it. Like, they actually have like a sign that says like, don't sit on it, and they have it like chained off now. But like, I took a picture with it, and I touched it, and I was like, watch, no, this is it. I'm gonna die. It's like The Ring now.
You know what? I'm gonna bring that seat to school and be like, go ahead, math teacher, sit on it.
No.
One more test, and hoop, there's gonna be an issue. Like, Miss, I'm not even gonna say names. My Spanish teacher. I will take 10 of those cursed seats.
Oh yeah, right.
I will take 10. I will order them off of Amazon. That lady drives me insane.
Hopefully she's not listening. She doesn't know that you have a radio show, right?
Nope, we're good. Only one of my teachers do, and I don't think he ever listens to it, so we're all good. And if he does listen, hi, Mr. Corman.
Aw, hi, Mr. Corman.
Okay. I don't even know what I'm laughing about. I'm just like...
I think it's the stir crazy.
The outside. Holy crap, it got dark.
Right? It's
Whoa.
like somehow it feels
whoa.
like 10:30 at night, and you're like, how is it only 5, 6 o'clock at night?
No. So I don't know if you see, like, do you watch Vines?
No, I'm too old for that. But I know what they are.
Okay, so this is one from Thomas Sanders, I think it is, like where he opens the curtain and he's in Florida. So it's either raining or flaming. It's just like that in Iowa. It's just like, you know, it's like raining, snowing,
Yep, I was going to say.
hurricane.
Rain or snow. Here today we actually had a crazy windstorm, and I was like, please don't let the power go out. Like, we had tree limbs flying and like pieces of metal from someone's house hitting our house, and I was like, I swear to God, if we lose power, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I have a show tonight.
That happened to us. We lost power for 3 days.
Oh my gosh. As if quarantine couldn't get any worse.
Matt, I take that offensive. See, he literally typed Donde está su lugar favorito. Okay, so what I get out of this is favorite paranormal investigator. What's your favorite? That's
so, like,
what I'm getting, I think.
Like, who's my favorite paranormal investigator?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Oh, gosh. Well, okay, I'm going to be embarrassed to admit this. So, when I was 14, Ghost Hunters came out for the very first time. I'm revealing my age. And I was madly in love with Steve. Madly in love. Everyone was like, what's wrong with you? Like, that's weird. He's a ghost hunter, blah, blah, blah. And I was just, like, absolutely infatuated. I'm now happily married, so if Steve's listening to this, I'm not a weirdo. But I had the biggest crush on him when I was a child, and I got to go to one of his, like a presentation or a lecture of his a couple years ago, and not as like a pathetic fangirl, but as someone who was like genuinely interested in this now. I thought he's a great teacher. Like, he does a really great job at like sharing his advice and giving tips and tricks. So I'll go with my 14-year-old Amanda answer, and I'll have to say Steve from Ghost Hunters / Ghost Nation now.
Oh, yeah. You know, like, he just pulls up watching this, like, what the heck?
I know.
All right. Okay. So, apparently, he was asking what location is your favorite.
Okay. Well, I thought, like, the investigator question was a good one.
I tried.
That's better than me. I don't speak Spanish. No hablo español at all.
Look, man, I got a D+.
Oh, no.
I got a D+. Somehow that's still passing, though, because it was almost a C.
So you got to round up. That's all it is.
Period.
So, favorite location. I guess, I mean, I don't want to have to say the Ghost Light Theater again just because I already talked about them. I do love them, and they're kind of like my location, I feel like, because I grew up there. I go there all the time. I feel like whenever I'm there, like, the spirits kind of recognize me of sorts. But I would probably say, aside from that, it's a newer location that just kind of opened its doors. It's called the Hull House, also in Buffalo, New York. I was there back in September and then again in October, and we just got some really, really good EVPs there. In September, we got an EVP of someone saying, "I'm the dead girl," which I thought was like, that's really good. Like, good job. Yeah, like,
same.
Dang. And then the last time around, we got an EVP. We were asking, trying to communicate with the dead girl. And, we were saying, do you want to play a game? And we got the words peekaboo. in the EVP, which I was like, that's pretty great too. Good job. So it's this great historic farmstead that it's a Victorian house, kind of like an early 1800s house, a Civil War era barn, and then an old cemetery in the back that has great cemetery art. You have like the willows and the grasping hands and all of that great symbolism, which I'm a sucker for. I love old cemeteries. So that's a great, great location that I love going to there just to investigate. So yeah.
Honestly, I like how they're making fun of me in the comments. I said 2 paragraphs to her in Spanish last week, and she thought I had 2 heads. Maddie, not Amanda.
Oh my gosh.
I was very confused. Yup. Look, man, I was scared and intimidated. That's another thing. So, I'm used to being the tall kid, right? I'm taller than most of my teachers. Or close to the same height. There is this one teacher. He literally looks down at me. He's like, hello, Maddie. I'm like, not really now. I wanted to punch him in the face. Like,
oh no.
Mr. Serrano, on the other hand, best teacher. Best teacher award. That's another thing. So, I had to write this thing for language arts, right? And it was like at the beginning of the year. And I have to do a lot of those because I'm in honors.
Yeah, yay.
Freaking hate it. Like, I'd easily go down. Like, the thing is, I had to write it. And at the end, I rated all my teachers. I gave the actual teacher that I was writing it for a 3 or a 3 out of 10, I think.
Oh.
And he was like, so I'm a 3 out of 10. I'm like, yes. Now, I had 2 teachers which I favorited. Mr. Serrano, 100 out of 10. And Mr. Bowery. I gave him a 25 out of 10 or 50 out of 10, something like that. And I gave somebody else a 0.1.
Oh, no.
Luckily, he didn't share it to the other teachers.
Ouch.
So, he just literally looked at me. He was like, so, I'm a 3 out of 10, eh? I'm like, yeah, man. I was being very nice. Because I was going to give him a 1. I've had him for the last 2 years.
Ouch.
I cannot escape honors language.
You say, hopefully soon. Maybe soon.
You know what? If I play dumb, maybe I'll go down. Yeah, it might affect me, but it's all fine.
Oh, gosh.
But the thing is, I'm going to high school next year, so I don't have to deal with him.
You aren't even in high school yet? Oh, my Lord.
Nope, 1 more year.
Oh, my gosh. I feel so old.
Of my living heck of middle school.
I will tell you that when I was in middle school, my teachers were like, we're preparing you for the difficulties of high school. Middle school was the hardest.
Exactly. Like,
yeah, high school, I don't want to like build you up or anything, but high school was infinitely easier than 8th grade. 8th grade was awful.
Yeah, the thing is, I have not had Spanish before, right? What did they do? They put me in the high school course, right? So now I have a huge binder in my backpack, which is right here. I can dig it out for you. I have to memorize over 100 phrases. De donde eres? And vosotros, vosotras, that's Spain, whatever. And I really hate it, right? Spanish 1. Basically, we're supposed to memorize up to 31. Why not be 30? It's way easier. I don't know. She's like, well, you have to know up to 31. Why add that extra 1?
Yeah.
Why? Oh, my Lord. Like, I can do hola, buenos dias, buenos tardes, stuff like that, right? But then it's like, nas vamos! Like, Jesus. And then there's asi. Easiest thing. It means so.
Ah, see, I don't even know any of this.
Ase, which is ASI with a dash. Right. And then the only thing that I can remember is April and Mayo for the months. Everything else, I'm like, why is January in Naro? Why can't they just put it Janero or something? Augusto, Julio, June, and Julio and June. Wait, hold up. Okay. And then there's winter, fall, summer, spring. Ooh, how I hate doing those. Winter, El Verno. Fall, El Otante. Yeah, I'm gonna stop. I'm probably confusing all of you. I'm confusing myself here. I took one look at a test and I just went, guess who's failing?
Oh, no.
And the teacher was like, Darren, you are so lucky. What? He never even had to take a foreign language class.
Oh, gosh. No. I took French and German. Oh.
I only know, a few catchphrases in, different languages. It's so sad. And the teacher, she tries to be nice and helpful. I'm like, you're not helping me. You're just telling me how stupid I am.
Oh.
How I wish school was like the good old days where you didn't have to take a foreign language class like Darren. Yeah, calling you out. I'm gonna stop. Before I actually start crying. I've had so many days where I just lay on the floor and I'm like, I don't know. Because we had to do the half and halves. I hated it so much. Okay, next question. What is the first place you've ever investigated and what did you discover there?
Oh, gosh. I just was talking to someone about my first investigation, or the first time I went out, and they were like, oh, everyone remembers their first time, blah, 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 blah. And I sat there thinking, and I was like, it must have been such a boring experience because I do not remember for the life of me the first thing I went to or the first place I went to, which is really, really sad. But the first place that I actually vividly remember was not an official location or anything. My family and I went down to Gettysburg in 2004, and right when I was starting to get really interested in this and stuff. And at the time we were staying at a hotel that it's no longer there. It was attached to a historic building that was the headquarters for Robert E. Lee. Luckily now, the hotel has been demolished, and just the historic building is still there, which I think is a good thing. It was cool to stay there because it was haunted. It was in the middle of the battlefield, but I think historically speaking, it's good that it's gone. But anyway, that night, one of our first nights there, my parents and I and my brother, we just kind of went out into the battlefield, and I had my little cassette recorder, and we tried to do a little EVP session and stuff. That's the first thing that I really remember doing. That was kind of the starting point, I think, for investigations. We had a pair of dowsing rods with us, and my mom was using them, and it was the first and last time she's ever used them. I'm kind of hit or miss when it comes to dowsing rods. I think that you can get some really cool evidence with them or responses with them. Other times I'm I don't really know. You're kind of not really holding them as firm as you should be. Are you manipulating it? But when my mom was holding them, we were asking questions. She, asked a question, and she said that it felt like something like grabbed the ends of them and like was moving them. And as we were taking a picture, there was kind of like a shadow in the flash in front of her. So she dropped them, and she has not touched them since. And that was, 16 years ago. And I actually just hosted a ghost hunt over the weekend, and we busted out dowsing rods, and I asked her, I was like, do you want to use them? And she just glared at me. So clearly, she's still traumatized by that experience. But yeah, my first experience going out, my first investigation that I actively remember was in Gettysburg, but it was just out in the battlefields, kind of in the back of our hotel, which sounds super sketchy in hindsight. But it was cool. And we didn't really catch anything on the cassettes, but my mom's experience with the dowsing rods was definitely a little unnerving and eerie and kind of freaked her out and my brother out. So we ended up calling it quits after that and headed back inside. So, yeah.
Fun.
No applause for that one. That's okay.
There. Okay. Ow, my wrist. Okay. How do I even snap my wrist? Okay. So, what is your most favorite place that you have gone to? And, like, the food there, like, was living up to expectations, and the investigation was more down. Yeah. I don't know.
So,
yeah.
It, where, I went and,
it didn't live up to the expectations, where, people were talking about it up here, and then it was, way down here,
So, for me, yes. And I'm slow to admit them by name, just because they're great places.
If anything, just name the experiences.
Yeah. Good. So there's two places that come to mind almost immediately. One is in Salem. It's a restaurant in Salem, and the story around it is that it's built on kind of like Bridget Bishop's apple orchard. It's it was her land, and she supposedly haunts it. So I was really excited to kind of check it out. And it's Salem. I'm obsessed with seafood, so I was like, all right, let's do this. I just wasn't really blown away by the food or kind of I call it the spooky rating. No one really talked about it when I asked our waiter about any ghost stories surrounding it because it was known to be haunted. He kind of looked at me like I had lobsters crawling out of my ears. He had no idea what I was talking about. And I was like, no, okay, this is awkward now. Now he thinks I'm a weirdo. So that wasn't too great. Another one is actually a location here in Buffalo, New York again, that it's an old insane asylum that's been transformed into a kind of a nicer restaurant. And when I first approached them about visiting, they kind of scolded me and gave me kind of a lecture on how they'll never allow paranormal investigators in or anything paranormal, because it kind of adds to the stigma of mental illness, and which I got, at first I was like, what the heck? I'm sorry, I was just asking for a food recommendation if he had any ghost stories. But then over time, I did kind of think that, maybe the paranormal of sorts does add to the stigma of mental illness. A lot of times you'll have, haunted houses inside an asylum, or even paracons inside an asylum, and it kind of adds to the stereotype of the crazy person in the corner rocking back and forth and talking to themselves. Whereas a lot of times people who were in asylums back in the day, they had kind of normal problems. They had epilepsy or schizophrenia. Sometimes they were just women who, talked against their husbands too much. So it's it's not always that stereotypical image. So those two locations weren't what I expected, we'll just say. They didn't quite live up to my expectations, but maybe my expectations were too high. But 9 times out of 10, the places that I go to, they either meet my expectations or they exceed them, either from the stories or just the hospitality. A lot of times you'll ask your waiter or the manager, questions, and they'll be like, oh, let us take you up to the attic, or let's go down to the basement, and you'll have just like kind of a crowd of employees sharing their ghost stories with you, which I always think is cool. I think so many times people will have a paranormal experience and they'll think, oh, that couldn't have possibly happened, I must be crazy, and all of a sudden you feel very isolated and alone. But as soon as you mention a paranormal experience that you've had to someone else, usually 9 times out of 10, they'll have something to share too. So then it's also kind of like this weird unifying bonding experience that you have with the other weirdos out there.
We're all weirdos. It's just
right?
some express it more than others.
Exactly. I love that. Everyone's a weirdo. You just gotta let your freak flag fly. Come on.
Period. Like at school, quiet kid. Hate talking. I sit alone at lunch. Literally, human interaction, haha, no. But once I get on, the topic of something interesting, I'm like, you've awakened the beast in me. Let's go. Yeah. So another question from Darren. Is there a place you are afraid to go to?
So, of the places that I've visited, there isn't any place that I've had an experience that was so freaky or frightening that I wouldn't go back. I've had experiences with people that have made me not want to go back. There are certain locations that I was really excited to visit, and either I had a bad experience with, either like the owner or people kind of running an investigation, where it's just kind of like, you know what, it kind of ruined the experience for me. There's so many other places out there that I'd rather go to than returning here. So luckily nothing ever like that scared me away. But just kind of like that, like you said, human interaction. Every so often you're like, you know what, my demons aren't jiving with your demons, so you do you, I'ma do me over here. So luckily I'm not afraid to go back to any places, but there are some places that I'll avoid in the future because of the living and not the dead.
Yeah, living people kind of scare me. Like a ghost, they're easy to talk to, right?
Right? You know what you're gonna get, usually.
Yeah, most of the time, yeah. Or just talking to myself in the mirror. I do that a lot for no reason. Yeah. Thanks, mirror. Really helped. Yeah. Okay. So another question from Darren.
I love this. Thanks, Darren.
Yeah, Darren. My parents are probably like so confused. Probably like downstairs like, what the heck? Why is she screaming Darren? What the heck?
Who's Darren? Who's up there with her?
Another ghost, really? David, Mary, now Darren? We really just need to get an exorcist for this kid. Okay. So, on to the question. When you were able to go across seas, what would be the first location you would go to for both food, history / haunt?
Ooh. So I've been overseas. I see that Shay answered that question for me. So I have been overseas many times, actually. I actually used to live overseas. But most recently, before COVID hit, I was over in the UK. I traveled through England, Scotland, and Wales for 3 weeks last summer. Actually, last fall at this point. And for me, 100% I would go back to Scotland. I love England. I've been there 3 times now. Absolutely love it. York is one of those great cities that I just feel like I think it's the most haunted city in England. I don't know if any Brits are listening right now and they'll be like, nah, that's ridiculous. That was a terrible British accent. I apologize to all my British friends. Oh my gosh. But York was fantastic. But Scotland, for me, for whatever reason, was just so enchanting. And like I loved the food, which, I mean, people think of like haggis and stuff, but I tried it. It tastes like stuffing. It's fine. But for me, I absolutely loved Edinburgh. for the history and the food and the haunt. We actually got to go down into the vaults, the Edinburgh vaults. And I would love to get back down there. I know that doesn't answer the food question. You don't want to eat down there. But it was absolutely amazing down there. And I loved it because I was down there with my dad, and my dad is the number one skeptic in my life. I think he's like Fox Mulder from X-Files. He wants to believe, but he's never really experienced anything that makes him a believer. And while he was down in the vaults, he had 2 experiences that made him at least kind of like scratch his head and be like, oh, that was interesting. So I'm jealous that he had those experiences and I didn't, but I'm also grateful for those experiences because it made a little bit of a believer out of him, if nothing else.
Yeah, like, once you bring that skeptic friend into investigation, every single ghost is like, the tea has been spilt.
Yeah, right? Fresh meat.
A soul. By the way, I love your decorations in the background, like the Michael Myers.
Oh, thank you. I was going to say that earlier when you were like, oh, in school everyone sees my backgrounds. I do library talks and school talks, and I'm like, I would have to like angle my camera so because I'm like, it's like a Michael Myers picture behind me. It's fine.
All the kids are like, what the heck? And you're just like, don't look at that.
Yeah. I like horror movies. Get over it.
Same. Like, I think that I have a few horror movie references in my other room. Like, I just got It Chapter 2 on DVD. I'm so late. Like, I do have the It with spider leg pop over there, so.
There you go. I was gonna say, I have all my pops over on my shelf in the corner.
Yeah, I have a bunch more pops in my room since I also like Star Wars, so I have a bunch of Darth Vaders.
I can't tell that you like Star Wars at all. The onesie. I'm kidding.
Really now.
I'm kidding.
Be really now. Yeah, like. Then I have like 60, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I have like 2 big ones, like the Firehouse, right? Firehouse Pop with Peter Venkman and then Peter Venkman, Slimer, and Egon from the Banquet Room.
Yeah, sick. Oh.
Me knowing my stuff like. And then I also have the cereal up there, like the Slimer cereal from Pop. It's weird. Don't ask. And for any of you who want to know, the cereal, it was not good. It tasted like pure sugar. But the Pop figure was amazing. I would give it an 8 out of 10 for the Pop. For the cereal, 2 out of 10. It tastes like pure sugar. It's not. No. Okay. So another question from Darren.
He's on a roll tonight. I love it.
All right. So he wants to know, what is on your bucket list?
Oh gosh, I've had a bucket list since I was 12 years old. So there's a lot of stuff on the bucket list. The 2 things that I have in mind for like my spooky bucket list. Once I'm allowed to leave my house again. I had a trip to New Orleans planned for this year, but that obviously didn't happen. So I want to get down to New Orleans. I've never been, and I feel like it is like Spook-Eats in city form, where it's like food. It's a great food city, but it also has like that weird, quirky side, and it's got tons of history and obviously lots of ghost stories. So want to get to New Orleans really, really bad. And then I have a project planned that was supposed to be next year, but everything might be shifted. I am working on a book that is a Route 66 travel guide, but it's like it focuses on the haunted restaurants, bars, and hotels along Route 66. And I want to actually drive the length of Route 66. So those are the 2 things.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, it's like when I was in Chicago, I saw like mile 0, Route 66, and I was like, let's go, let's do it now. Forget work. Let's not
you
adults.
Look so crazed. You're like,
yeah. So those are the 2 big things on my spooky bucket list that I want to do really, really, really bad. I have over 200 things on my official bucket list. I do actually have it written out so I can keep track of things.
Heck yeah.
But that's the 2 best ones that I've got right now. Hopefully soon we can start doing this again because I'm going crazy, and Spook-Eats is all about traveling and going to restaurants, and I haven't done either of those things in about 8 months now. So, gotta try to keep Spook-Eats alive while we can't travel anywhere.
Yeah. And then I also like how Darren is feeling better. He's asking questions again. And then Darren, yeah, this beep is back. Honestly, if I had my recorder right now, dude, I should bring my recorder in here for future shows. And when I get mad, I just be like, beep. And I bleep. Okay. So, back to the topic of horror movies. What are your favorites?
Oh, gosh. For me, oh my gosh. Okay. So I love Halloween, the original Halloween, because it was one of my first horror movies that I saw that I was aware that it was a horror movie. My first horror movie ever was Jaws, and it did traumatize me, like many people. But for me, Halloween, I absolutely love it. I also love Suspiria, which is an older one from I think the 70s. I love it. I think it's just beautiful to look at. Storyline is kind of really bizarre and wonky. But I love Suspiria. And then my guilty pleasure, which people have made fun of me, I love Trick or Treat with Little Sam.
Oh my god, yes!
I love that movie. My husband and I were it's not Halloween until we watch Trick or Treat. We have to watch it. So it's a tradition. We always watch it. Now that I have a baby, I'm in 2 or 3 years, he's dressing up like Sam. I don't care what he says. This is why I had you. You're going to be a little Sam. So.
Yes. Just yes. My parents, they told me, there was Jaws playing on the TV, and I was, really little. And when somebody died, I just kept laughing.
Oh, gosh.
Each time somebody died in the movie, I would laugh. I would just be like, ha ha ha. That's one of my talents. I could go, from this and just stop. I'm very good at that.
You say you should be an actor or something. That'd be good.
I'm very good at just, ha ha ha. When my friends, when they tell a joke, they don't know if I'm actually laughing or just going like this. You guys can't see me, but it's spooky.
Screenshot, think.
Just have you ever watched Saw the franchise?
Yes.
Finally, yes.
I do also love those. I love those movies. My parents for the long time, they were like, you can't watch those. That's trash. And we're like, it's not trash. Oh, that's fantastic.
My actual room, it's right above my bed. Same with my Ghostbusters.
No, I do. I enjoy the Saw movies. And those are they've gotten wackier over the years. The first one was fantastic. But I'm just it makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong.
Somebody's limbs getting torn off. The perfect ambiance.
Yes, this is perfect. Anybody want a slice of pizza or anything? Anyone?
Yeah, it's how do I explain it? So, it's so wonky because it goes from present to flashback to back to present, and then you have to you have to watch it 2 times. You have to watch each thing 2 times to understand it fully.
Yeah.
You watch the full thing through, and then you have to watch it again to be oh yeah, that's when that happened. Oh yeah, that's from the first one. Okay, that's a reference. Okay.
Got it.
Why do you do this to me, Billy? I also have a Billy voodoo doll in my room. It's in my little plushie bin.
That's fantastic. You have to put it next to your plague doctor.
Yes. Greg the Plague Doctor.
I love it.
That's literally how I always pronounce it.
Ooh, Darren says he likes The Mist. I do like The Mist as well. That's a very good movie. They actually did a TV series, which I'm mad because they did it for 1 season, ended on a cliffhanger, only to find out it got canceled.
Bro!
Yeah. So.
Since when? I have never felt this betrayed.
Yeah. Still bitter about it. It's fine.
I'm pretty sure that I've seen it. I just don't.
It's good. I
Like-
would recommend returning to it. Rewatch
I remember me and a friend, we were talking about horror movies, and she recommended it. We watched it. I don't even know. And then there was this other one that we watched. So we also watched Children of the Corn. She loved it, which I've seen it like multiple times. So I'm like,
Yeah.
this is when the real fun starts.
This is when it gets weird. Classic Stephen King.
Yep, this is when it gets weird, kids. Close your eyes. Okay. But like, I don't even know how to explain it. So these people were driving in a car, right? And I'm going to try to explain this real quick because we have like 5 minutes left.
Oh my gosh.
So basically what happened is they were in a town and they always keep it at one number. And when somebody dies, they have somebody come, right? And if a baby is born, they kill somebody off.
Oh.
So like it always keeps the same number because that is the quote unquote perfect number, right?
Yeah.
And these people, it's a father and a daughter. No, it's this guy who I don't even know. So basically, whenever somebody wants to leave, they have them cured, right? Which basically they just put them through like torture, right? And be like, this is the perfect number. This is how you're supposed to live. And this is what happens to this lady, right? And this little girl, her father dies because a baby was born, right? And she's like, why can't you guys see that this is all a trick? They're trying to trick us. And everyone's like, what do you mean?
That sounds freaky.
Like, I can probably send you it. Like, I don't even know. Like, I just know that it's a 3-digit number. It's like population something.
Okay. I'll look it up.
What it's called. But either way, like, basically what happens is as they were trying to leave town, I think the girl who was in the hospital because they were curing her, right? She died, I think, like, the last few minutes. And then, I'm not trying to spoil it, but at the end, the guy, they escaped using a car, right? And as they were escaping, they both died, right? Like, so it was a little girl and the guy, right? She was like, look out, and then a truck was just like, you know? And this freaking cop, he is the one directing it all. He's like, oh yeah, you should come here. It's a really nice place. But basically, there's a gas station. People go there, and whenever they're like a digit down or something, he's like, oh yeah, there's a nice little town down the road. You should go there and get breakfast. Right? And then they're kind of just stuck there. It's really weird.
But it sounds like unique and original when so many movies are the same over and over and over again. So
yeah. Like, I just rewatched The Ring, right? I thought it was so much better as a kid. I rewatched it. I'm like, how did I sit through this?
yeah.
And that's another thing. Keeping Up with the Kardashians scares me to death. Just saying, Matt. Period. Like, my friend tried to make me watch that at her house. I literally was like, what are their names again?
Yeah.
Kim, Chloe, and whatever the other ones are named. Oh, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Good movie. It's actually free on YouTube. You can watch it for free there.
On you? I didn't know that. Right.
Yeah. Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, and there's this other app. It's like horror movies only.
Shudder?
I want it so... Yes, I want that so bad.
It's great. I have it. It's fantastic.
Like, no. But
it's
my parents
so
are like,
good.
no. I'm like, but why not, Father? Why not? You can take my allowance. I do chores around here and you never pay me anyways.
Oh.
You know? But yeah, Killer Clowns from Outer Space isn't that freaky to me. If anything, I thought it was actually really good. You know?
I enjoy it. Yeah.
My favorite character was the car. Like, you know what my favorite character is from that movie? The dog balloon.
Oh my gosh.
Period. The thing is, like at Target, they have like the little balloon dog, like where it comes with a like balloon ball and then like the little thumbtack, and like you poke it, and then it goes, and like it just falls over.
Oh my gosh.
And then you, like, I think like you push its snout, and then it goes, and like it blows back up, and
it's crazy.
I want one so bad. I'm like, Father, get on it, Father. They only come in red, so I'll take it. I'm gonna take that thing on a walk in a killer clown costume. And by the end of it, period. Okay. Well, I'm starting to see the Shadow Man right in the corner that our time is almost over, so I'd really like to thank you for coming on, sharing with me, myself, and my listeners. Sorry that I'm talking really fast. It's 6 p.m. All right. Oh, yeah. I still have to come up with characters for the Ghostbusters remake. We forgot about that. We'll figure it out. Okay. So, for all my listeners out there, I'd really like to say thank you for being with me tonight. My next show will be December 6th, which is Nick Groff. Or Nick Groff. Yeah. As my special guest. Make sure if you're not following me, give me a follow at Madison Paranormal Investigation on Facebook and Maddie_Paranormal_Investigation on Instagram. So for tonight, peace, love, and happiness. And most of all, be spoopy, everyone.